But it's time for my weekly Walking Dead review. And I'm sure when the regular series starts up again, you'll be watching it, right?
Yes.
Okay. So then we both can give our opinions, but for now, you'll just have to hear my spoiler-laden review.
I know, you're just going to ruin all this for me.
Oh yeah, because Fear the Walking Dead can be ruined. No, it's okay. For what it does, it's all right.
Yeah.
So what happened this episode? This episode we were released to, or released. We were introduced to a family trying to escape the compound that Nick is living in, and you don't really know why they're trying to escape. It's a mom, a dad, and their daughter, and they get caught by the drug dealers that the colony has been kind of doing business with. They make oxycodone for medicine for the former drug dealers, but still kind of drug dealers because it's oxycodone, right? And they are in return giving them things like water and groceries. I say groceries, but water and supplies, stuff to live on. And there's a tenuous relationship there between the two groups. So the drug dealers kind of find the family, they bring them in, and this doesn't really have a whole lot of relevance throughout the whole episode until kind of halfway, where Madison does something really stupid, and I'll get into that in a moment. Like mother, like son, I guess. But in this episode, we saw a little bit of Nick and I'm trying to think of the new character, his new love interest. I'm pretty sure it begins with an L. Anyway, not going to spend too much time on that. Nick and this other person are trying to figure out why the family left. And in a previous episode, they went on a run to do an exchange with them. So the drug dealers know who Nick is. That's important for later. And right after that, so that's how the episode begins. The very next scene, everyone's having fun at the hotel. This is Madison and Strand's group. They're there with Alicia and some other people. Did I say her name right this time?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. I've done it. I think I've broken the habit of calling her Allison, which is not the correct name. My goodness. So, yeah. So Alicia, Strand, Madison, they're all having a good time, right? Alicia's even getting surfing lessons in. It's really, it's a really weird, awkward, because when you sit down to watch The Walking Dead, you kind of mentally prepare yourself, right?
Yeah.
You don't sit down expecting to see anybody having any amount of good time.
No, because apparently anyone can just die.
Like their best day is, hey, I found a canned soda. Wow, this is amazing. So yeah, it's really weird what you're introduced to, and of course it's all there just to set you up. And while I was watching it, I realized just the moment that happened, I'm like, something bad is about to happen here. And sure enough, they are all in a hotel room talking about something that's not really important because I can't even remember it. Strand goes to open the door. And Eileen, who is the mother of the bride who was murdered in a flashback, right, pretty much when the outbreak started. You haven't seen that, have you? All right. Well, I won't retread it. Suffice to say, Strand killed the Walker version of her daughter, and now she blames him. We don't know that until he opens the door, and she just outright shanks the guy. She just stabs him right in the gut, and she's like, "You killed my daughter," and she's obviously cracked. And now Madison and some other people have to go to this place where they know they can get medicine from. Where do you think they're going to go?
The compound.
It's where the drug dealers are, where they're getting oxycodone delivered to them. Because apparently the hotel manager's son is part of that gang or band of drug dealers. So they go, and Madison hears them questioning this family that got abducted in the beginning of the episode. And she hears something about Nick, or someone translates like, hey, they're talking about like, because they mentioned gringo, and she's like, you know, well, who are they talking about? Some guy with ratty hair. And they are talking about Nick, but what she does is like, so the drug dealers are all armed, right? They threatened Nick when they saw him. Like, they're not people that you want to mess around with. They told her to stay right where she was supposed to stay, and she runs over to where that family's being interrogated, and like it's seeing all this stuff, and like I don't know why they didn't kill her, because in reality that's what would have happened. But she's like, oh, I think you've seen my son. Where's my son? Have you seen him? And she completely like loses her mind after having like several episodes of her having a cool head, coming up with very, you know, pretty much being like Rick, where she's very level-headed. But I guess even Rick lost his mind, so maybe they are more alike than I'm giving them credit for. So she almost gets them killed. They are able to get the medicine. I assume Strand is going to be okay because they came back for it in time. But then Madison does something so dumb, even more dumb than that. All right. So first she almost gets killed by drug dealers. That wasn't enough apparently. Oh, what they were talking about in the hotel room right before Strand gets stabbed is they were talking about, because they actually have electricity. They even have a way to make ice. Yeah, they're high rollers as far as the living in the apocalypse goes. They're talking about how they're going to manage the electricity, how they're going to manage like their resources, and they're talking about only running the electricity during the day because it turns on the neon lights of the hotel when it's on, so they don't want to attract anyone at night, letting them know like, hey, there's a bunch of people here and the hotel has resources for you to come and take and kill everyone else here, right? So they want to avoid that. That's exactly what Madison does when she gets back during the night, because she thinks Nick's out there and she's trying to let Nick know where she is. And of course, Alicia just goes up to her and is like, Mom, what are you doing? And they had just had this like bonding moment over the last few episodes where you know, Allison basically accused Madison of like, you never paid attention to me, you were always concerned with Nick because he was the drug addict, and you know, you always had to like be concerned with him, and I had to raise myself. And they came to an understanding, and here's Madison doing that all over again. And it was from a story element, it was a really nice progression to kind of see all that progress get washed away. So there were some really good things about the episode. What was bad about the episode, I think almost every single episode we've seen this season for Fear the Walking Dead, someone has done the kill a walker, cut it open, take all the blood and guts and rub it over yourself, and you're basically Walker God mode, right? You're undetectable somewhat. But they've done that almost every episode, and they started out this family trying to get away from the compound. That's exactly what they did. And it's just like I watch it with my wife. Every single time we see someone do that, we're like, come on, again? It's like there was this big complaint about the original Walking Dead series where they didn't use that trick enough. And now they're like, oh, well, we'll just use this every single chance that we get with Fear the Walking Dead. And they overuse it. Like, everyone has figured out this trick. And it kind of makes the walkers almost a non-threat. Oh, we see Ophelia really quick. She has a flashback with her mom. That was okay. And at the very end of the episode, we do see someone see the hotel lights on, and it's not Nick. It's Travis. Without Chris. And we didn't, I don't know if you knew, but there was an episode that had Travis and Chris traveling together, and Chris just downright shoots a farmer in cold blood because they want to stay on his farm. Yeah, and we haven't seen them since then. So to see Travis there without Chris, and apparently this week's episode is going to be all about that, what happened, but it was a very interesting way to end the episode on, just see him without his son, seeing the hotel. So, fairly strong episode. Madison made some really just dumb decisions. Apparently that's her weakness, is her son, so I guess that kind of makes sense. There's a really weird scene with Nick and I think her name is like Luciana or something like that. But his love interest, it was really weird. Like, she basically insulted his manhood in one of the scenes, and it was just like, where did that come from? I don't know. It was a scene that didn't fit within the story. And the only thing other thing I'd complain about is it seems like they have a hard time balancing these three separate storylines that are going on with Nick, Madison's group, and then Travis and his son. And sometimes they'll go whole episodes or 2 episodes without addressing any of them, or one of them gets left out entirely, and it's a little disorienting. So I would give this episode, though, probably an 8 out of 10. So, name of it was Pillar of Salt, if you're interested.